Hello there, folks. Welcome back for yet another adventure of me and the Bee in Borderlands 2, the least optimized playthrough of Borderlands 2 that can be found on the interwebs. We are rejoining our Gunzerker Salvador. Actually, I changed his name. I keep calling him Salvador. And that's his canon name, but I think I called him Goobersnacks or something like that. Because it's fun. Does it actually tell you my name on there anywhere? I don't think it does. In multiplayer it does, but I don't know. And maybe on the character screen. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. And hopefully refresh what I have changed the name to, because I don't think I used Salvador. But we have reached Sanctuary, which is a pivotal moment. Let's see. I don't see the name anywhere. Still don't see the name. Still don't see the name. So yeah, I don't think our name comes up, except for on the screen where we choose the character select, which I wasn't really paying attention to because I was getting ready to do this. Ooh, we got a nice shiny electric gun. I think that's a shock weapon. Oh, I probably could have seen if I was able to process the information faster, I might have been able to find our name on there. Anyway, it really doesn't matter. This is a little bit shorter episode than usual. I'm not sure why. I can't remember. It's about 41 minutes long. The other ones are right up on an hour, a little bit over an hour. But for whatever reason, this one in particular is a little bit shorter. So, yeah. But as I said before, trying to release these weekly, at least one a week on the Thursday of each week. And we have, after this one, 22 more episodes. And once again, that is going to get us through the main game completed, but not thorough. It's not going to be a thorough playthrough, but it is a complete playthrough. And we'll also get 4 Headhunter DLCs done, as well as Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep and Captain Scarlet and her Pirate's Booty DLC. The only 2 DLCs that I really enjoy playing multiple times. I put in the legwork to get several Unkempt Heralds from the Torg Carnage campaign. I just didn't really like that campaign all that much. The main bad for that was entertaining enough, but it just didn't grab me. And I think it's just the ambiance, the atmosphere. It's kind of very similar to kind of like Borderlands 1. It's just kind of this depressing, macabre type. Well, not really macabre. That would make it a little too dark and make it more dark and violent than it is. It's just kind of a bummer of a campaign. Torg is a highlight, but not enough for me to enjoy playing it multiple times. Whereas Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep, it's set in a fantasy world. It's got, the bright colors. It's got magical stuffs and what have yous and whatnots, and a decent amount of interaction with the characters playing the game. And I mean, there's a quest where you have to. I don't know if we do it in this one, but there's one where you have to fight some like trolls, like player trolls. They've actually got they're like these made up screen names, and you've actually, I think one of the requirements is you got to teabag one of them. Is get them to rage quit. I think that's the whole thing. You got to get 3 troll players to rage quit. I mean, it's that kind of stuff. So it makes it fun, funny, engaging. It's different. And Captain Scarlet and her Pirate's Booty, it does suffer a little bit in that the overworld has a very similar sound to the Dust. I'm not a big fan of the Dust because it really is just kind of a desert. It's like probably the most Borderlands 1 area in Borderlands 2. And I mean, as I said, I like Borderlands 1 well enough, but I don't know. It's weird because the way it's set up, the minimal character interaction, the music, everything about it makes it feel like it's appropriate, makes it fitting that it's kind of this depressing, solitary experience on this just really messed up world. Whereas Borderlands 2 introduces enough character and enough fun into it that if you go back to that depressing brown and gray drab, kind of like what we're seeing here, environment, it feels really bad, whereas in Borderlands 1 it felt natural because most of the time that's what you were up against. The Secret Island of Dr. Ned is the only one that I can think of that, off the top of my head, that actually is very different from the... has a very different environment, different feel to it than the other ones, and that could be why I enjoy it, despite the fact that it's a bunch of zombies. It doesn't hurt that they have one of the quests, the longer quests that you do has features like characters like from Scooby-Doo, kind of your Shaggies and your I mean, I don't think they have like a Velma, but they have, or Daphne. But it's kind of like they have Scooby and Shaggy-esque characters. I guess more Shaggy because Scooby is a dog. But you have characters like that, which is pretty funny because they kind of spoof that a little bit, hiding in trash cans. And of course, you see the like, I'm gonna just hide in this trash can. There's no way they'll find me in here. And then, like, you walk a little bit further and there's a trash can and there's a dead body. And you're like, oh. Guess that didn't work out too well for you. It didn't work out too well for you, did that? Did it? I try to do these playthroughs now earlier in the day because I know that, like, I watched the first one. I stuck with it even though during the edit I was like, ooh, this gets pretty rough. Because I was tired. I mean, I'm yawning and I'm just clearly, yeah, I'm a little too relaxed. My brain is a little too relaxed for what I need to be able to do in these videos. So the first one hopefully is going to be the roughest this series gets. Everything else is going to be dynamo. It's going to be fabulous. It's going to be irresistibly fun and engaging content. But I know just from my personal experience, I can watch first-person shooters. I'm not even necessarily even paying attention to what's happening, but I can just watch a first-person shooter and I'm listening to what the guy is saying, and that's kind of cool. But like, it's not hypnotic, but it has a draw to it that I can't really explain, obviously, but hopefully, where and when the commentary is amiss, the overall gameplay will be fun. Because again, I'm not the best at it, but I'm not completely incompetent when it comes to my navigation of the Borderlands. We do some cool stuff. I'm looking forward to getting the Bee, because that's when it gets, for me, more interesting, because it's dying a whole lot more, but also having a lot more fun just one-shotting things. But anywho, I mean, last time we talked about, you know, the killing and the Pandoras and all this stuff. Oh yeah, her name is Maya. Okay, we got it up on the signage there. And it helps when we meet new characters because we can kind of talk about those. Because we haven't met Lilith yet. We haven't met any, because we're in Sanctuary, but Roland isn't in Sanctuary, so we haven't rescued him yet. We haven't got to meet Lilith or had that quest activated yet. So we are still, I would say, in the warm up to the game, but at least the warm up to the story. Right now, it's very simple. We were Vault Hunters. We got betrayed by Handsome Jack, and we were left for dead, and we are clawing our way back into relevance. Jack now knows we're alive, and he is trying to stop us, but he's also got his own agenda. He's trying to open the vault in his way, and Angel is back. I thought they did a good job of incorporating that from the end of the first game and bring it into this one. They did a good job of I mean, to be fair, it's a lot easier when you have bare bones lore. It's very easy to incorporate it into a sequel without stepping on its own feet, whereas something like Star Wars was much harder for Lucas because he had two movies of lore to go going into Jedi, and so he had to do a lot of bastardization of the material to make it work, to be able to tell the story he wanted to tell in Jedi. So I guess that's where Borderlands was actually pretty helpful. It was pretty good in that way, the fact that it kept the plot minimal. I don't think they did that on purpose. I don't know. I don't even know that they actually anticipated they would be able to do a sequel. I think it really was just, let's just make a loot shooter. Kind of like, I'm guessing what was that game? It was kind of Borderlands-esque. It was something, oh crap, Blade Storm maybe, or something? Bullet Storm, I think. I remember I bought that, and I was very disappointed. I think everybody was disappointed. It looked like it was Borderlands, but like in a jungle setting with kind of what it was, because it came out before Borderlands 2. It seemed like it was going to be what Borderlands 2 ended up being, which was the gameplay of Borderlands 1 in a more rich environment with, you know, some a lot more visual effects and just fun, campy stuff that we had. But I think it face planted pretty hard. And I think that's, obviously nobody creates a game thinking it's going to face plant, but I think that's perhaps what the devs were more or less expecting, that it would do all right, it would hold its own, but it wasn't gonna light the world on fire. And then it gets, you get Game of the Year edition. I don't know if Game of the Year edition means inherently that it was actually got the Game of the Year, or if that's just a title. Like we're just gonna, instead of saying like the All-Star or the Supreme list or whatever, or the Supreme version. They just call it the Game of the Year. But I think Borderlands may have won Game of the Year, and so you have the Game of the Year edition. Which just means you got all the DLCs and everything with it. Back to our sniping with Salvador. I'm kind of surprised. It would be cool, but definitely 100% unnecessary. If your playstyle doesn't match the character, you would occasionally hear them saying, "What are we doing? Why are we doing this? This is the dumbest thing in the world. Let me kill somebody," or something like that. You know, just a little more. But I mean, I don't know how you would set the parameters for that. But it would be kind of cool because it wouldn't impact the way you play. You can still play it the way you want to. It wouldn't be like your character's constantly berating you or insulting you for not playing it the way they think you should play it. But it would be kind of funny to have, you know, to try to play a character that is so antithetical to its creation that it actually rebels a little bit or gets pissed at you. Is it not what I was supposed to be doing? But you're doing great. Doing great. If I do say so myself. Yes, indeed. I do remember I had, when they talked about Borderlands 3, I think there was I can't remember if there was an open call for it, but they were like, somehow I got the idea, or the feeling, or the understanding that they were looking for possible input for what the story, the overall story for Borderlands 3 would be. And I remember I sent an email or wherever it was, to wherever I thought it was supposed to go. That could all be Mandela effect, and it was just me thinking, like, maybe they were saying we don't really have a story yet. And I thought, well, here, I'll throw them something and maybe they'll do something with it. And I don't remember much of it. Personally, I think it's better than what we ended up with, as much as I know about it, which isn't extensive, but I know enough to be like, Borderlands 3 just did not interest me in any way, shape, or form. The story, the gameplay, a little seemed like it went more like towards poop jokes than the other one. Like, I don't think there's any poop jokes in this one. There's crude jokes, there's crass jokes, but it's not poop humor. You know, it's not like, oh, poo-poo is funny. Because I think there's actually a poop gun. There's a gun that shoots poop, or fart gun or something. That's fine for Despicable Me. You can have your fart gun. But I don't know. I know it's really splitting hairs. If you have a game like this, it's like, oh, I can have crass humor or crude humor, but not potty humor. But there's a difference. There is a juvenility. Juvenility? Is that a word? Might be a word. A juvenile quality to the humor, where it's like it's appealing to a younger or less sophisticated audience. Not that you have to be particularly sophisticated to appreciate this. That said, there are a lot of references, a ton of references, and allusions in these games to other things that if you're not of a certain age or you're not media savvy, you're probably not going to get. A lot of Salvador's powers or skill tree sections, and I think probably most characters, are one-liners from popular media. You know, there's a question here that doesn't overtly say it, but it's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle reference or homage. And, you know, and the characters' attitudes and voice actors reflect that. So it doesn't require a big brain to play it, but to get a lot of the stuff. And I mean, there are definitely moments where there's a little more sophisticated emotional elements to this. I think that's what makes Borderlands 2, the story, stand out much better. Is you are this mercenary, but you're expected as the player to have some kind of heart, to have some kind of emotional capacity. Whereas in the first one, I mean, you're just shooting stuff, and you're shooting bad guys. Like, there's never a quandary where you're like, oh, should I shoot this person or not? There's never somebody who's good or seems good, but you don't know, and you're being told to kill them, but you don't. I don't remember there being that kind of quandary. I don't even think that's in this game either. But that really could be in the first game. That was the only quandary you could really have, because it was only about shooting people. There was no. It was fetch quests and kill people quests. But I don't think there was ever that I can recall, I don't think there was a save character or spare character or kill character. It was always, you had to kill them. Like, they would come after you no matter what. If you chose to spare them, they would just shoot you in the back or something. which again is very on brand for Borderlands. But I haven't even bothered to check if they're planning a 4th game. I don't even know how the 3rd one was received overall. You know, did it sell well? Was it reviewed well? I know the few friends that I have that I've played Borderlands 2 with, or that we talked a lot of Borderlands with, none of them were interested in it. Like, I was almost interested just for the fact that it's fresh, like it's something different. But there was just enough about it that I was like, nah, it's okay. Whereas the second game here, its strength is in the fact that it exaggerates or carries the basics, the basic formula of the first game, and just amplifies it. I think the 3rd game tried to amplify the second one, and it just has, I would call it diminishing returns. I think there's only so much ridiculousness, pop culture stuff you can do before you just water it down and it becomes a mediocre experience. But I just wish, you'd think, the FPS RNG formula works, or has proven to work. Borderlands 1 and 2 were did very well. Both did very well. You'd think other companies would do that. Make it like an RPG. And I think, that's, like I said, part of the appeal of Call of Duty, especially the zombies, is you get, you do have a level up type incentive. There's reason to keep playing and playing, even though the mission doesn't change, there's challenge for it. How many hordes, how many levels can you go before you airlift out or before you die? Trying to play it all with a knife. I remember doing all kinds of fun stuff, and it's very satisfying. I might go back to Call of Duty at one point. Not any of the new stuff. I won't go past Modern Warfare 2 because that's what I knows, and I just don't like. I don't know. Some games just, like I said, they go in a different direction at some point, and if it's not the direction you're into, you just don't play it. When it comes to creative endeavors, there's so many branches, so many different pathways you can take the sequel or take the material or take the DLCs, that it's actually, I think, kind of rare for it to resonate strongly with, well, not with everybody. Can never do that. Well, excuse me. But, to resonate with me, and what I like, especially because I've openly admitted this is not my genre per se. The mechanics of first person and RPG are definitely me and appeal to me, but everything else about it is just very not appealing. Even the art style, I'll be honest, I don't mind the cell shading, but when they add like the line, like the characters, they've got like a bunch of hash marks on there and scuffs, and it looks dirty is the best way to say it. It's dirty cell shading, or dirty line art on cell shading. And I'm not a huge fan of it, but it is unique, and it's not bad. It kind of looks, cartoonish, which I'm okay with. I'm kind of surprised I never tried Fortnite, because I think it's kind of the same thing, right? It's bizarre characters with crazy powers and abilities, and you can level up and get, different. Well, I think most of that's cosmetic, but yeah. So I'm a little surprised that I never even tried Fortnite, but yeah, that haven't been particularly drawn to that. I'm not a big fan of open world games. Fine. Whoa, I never saw that guy swinging across there like Donkey Kong. I like open world single player games, or ones that you can have people co-oping with your game. I don't like MMORPGs or whatever they're called, where it's like you go in this world and it's all happening live and there's a bunch of other people and they're doing their stuff. It's nothing against it. It just doesn't feel like a personalized experience. And maybe I just haven't played the right game yet. I know I tried Elder Scrolls Online with my buddy Silver. Shout out to Silver. He's got a Silver G Suit, I believe is the full name. He's out exclusively on Rumble. Check him out for all kinds of gameplay. Typically games that are a little off the beaten path and of the horror genre. That's his preference. But we tried Elder Scrolls Online. It was okay, but it just wasn't. It didn't grab me. At the same time, Tears of the Kingdom, its open world functionality, I found to be very engaging and enjoyable. And Skyrim, part of its appeal is it is a first person, or can be a first person RPG. The problem is the combat sucks. Like, the only reason I end up, the joke is no matter what character build you start with, you'll always end up as a stealth archer. But I think a lot of the reason for that is because archery is the only combat that actually feels good, where it's like, okay, I aimed at something and I hit something. Whereas with the swords and everything, it's just, I feel like it's a crapshoot. Like, I'm gonna swing, and it's a crapshoot whether the guy blocks me, whether he counter strikes, whether it does the damage that I thought it was gonna do. And two-hand, forget about it. Because unless you just one-on-one with somebody, and that guy takes takes forever to actually try to attack you, more than likely, you're either gonna get wrecked, or you're gonna get wrecked. Those are your options. And I don't much care for the story of Skyrim. I shouldn't be talking too much about other games. I feel like I'm cheating on Borderlands 2 if I'm talking too much about other ones. Because again, in theory, you're here for Borderlands 2 playthrough, so I should try to keep it topical. But at the same time, there's only so much you can say while you're skirmishing up. I mean, I don't know the history of our friend here, who it is we're trying to attack. I do remember this, I think, this being a little bit of a prolonged battle. I always try when it gives you bonus for killing, completing a mission or killing a character with a certain weapon. I try to do it with that. One, for the challenge aspect of it, but also just because I don't know. I never actually bothered to look what changes. I think you might get more experience. I'm guessing you get more experience, but I don't think the gun changes. I don't think the rewards change. But I think your XP does. You get a little boost to that, and maybe something else that's not really. It's ineffable. It's something it does for your character that you don't really realize. Lots of common and what they call like white is common, blue is rare. No, blue is rare. What's green? You got common, not so common. I can't remember what it's called, but blue is rare. Purple is epic, gold is legendary, or orange is legendary, and then pearlescent is pearlescent. So I don't think we haven't found a legendary yet, and very few epics. You can get keys. So this is a PSA for anybody who's looking to get in this game and has never played before. You can get golden keys, which unlock the chest that's in Sanctuary. You will never get anything other than an epic or 2 epics out of it. It could be 2 epic. I mean, it doesn't have to be. It could be a gun, it could be a shield, it could be a class mod, it could be pretty much any type of a grenade mod, and it can be one of each. But you'll always get 2 of at least one of 2 of whatever they are. Always going to be an epic, always matched to your level. So if you're kind of stuck, or your guns are absolute crap, or you need a fire weapon or a corrosion weapon and you can't find one, you can try to farm the chest. It's not guaranteed to give you what you want. It's not even guaranteed to give you. I've had it where I've opened the chest like 6 times, burned through 6 keys, and never gotten a gun out of it. Well, maybe that's an exaggeration. Maybe I got 1 set of guns out of it. Everything else was class mods and shields, but I needed a gun. And so anyway, it's hit or miss, but it's free. You can do a search, Borderlands 2, and then whatever platform you're playing it on, and golden keys. And I think you can pretty easily get like 50 to 60 of them without having to hunt too much. Like, there's some keys that just exist in perpetuity. And then there's some that are time release, but there's more than enough to give you a chance. So yeah, that golden chest right there, in fact. Are we going there? We're not going there. Okay. Couldn't remember. I know we pilfered a few times in the future, but I don't remember when or for how much. But we'll probably see that in the near future.
Out of my face. Maybe that helps you kill stuff better. Yeah, that's what I thought.
There's Earl. The only thing I don't really upgrade is the vault. I think I do 1 or 2 upgrades because at some point it's just more efficient to do that. But I try to upgrade my backpack carry capacity, and then whatever weapon I find myself using the most is the one I'll increase the ammo for. So I think the sniper rifle gets quite a bit of love in this one. And also, I mean, it also depends on the amount of weapons, like the variation of weapons I have. If I haven't really found, you know, a rocket launcher that's worth a darn, so I'm not going to upgrade that ammo until that changes. Even when I do get the rocket launcher, eventually I get a rocket launcher. I don't think I upgrade the ammo for it. I don't use it all that much. I prefer precision attacks, like aka a sniper rifle, that more so than area of effect, which would be your rocket launchers and grenades. But that's why even my grenade, when I found the one grenade mod that actually makes it a very narrow but powerful focus, I choose that one because I don't know, precision is fun. Pray and spray or spray and pray, not as fun, not as rewarding as far as I'm concerned.
Next time you're bleeding to death.
And I've seen a lot of people when they do like the legit playthroughs for this game, they don't really mess with, or even actually any of like what was it? I was like watching like a Diablo 2 playthrough, you know, from the old school days. And you got people, they just know what they want, and they have no fear of dying, and they're good enough at the game where they're just throwing away equipment they could probably sell and get some really cool stuff, but they'd rather just not be bothered with it. So there's no real inventory management. They're like, I know what guns I'm going for, and until I get those, I'm just going to chuck this stuff. I don't care about selling it back. I'll get enough gold off the quests. So I admire that, but there's also a part of me that goes, ugh, because in every game, part of the fun for me is resource management of what I have. So organizing the guns, I mean, I think I did at one point, man, I really got into it where it's like, because you can mark certain guns as like with an X so that you can say, okay, this is what I'm going to get rid of this. You can mark it with a star, so it's like, don't ever sell this. And I think there's one other thing you can mark them with, you know, but I had them arranged in a certain way, and I don't know, I nerded out a bit at different points with this one. This is probably the most direct playthrough I've done, where I've done the fewest side quests. Oh, here we go. So here we go, right? A little something fresh here. We are starting our first headhunter. It's the Halloween, and we'll visit with our good friend from the original Borderlands, TK Baha. I believe that's his name. Yep. Well, it's zombie TK Baha. He was a little crazy in the first game, but just seemed like a nice enough guy. And unfortunately, we find out he meets his demise. I'm trying to remember who kills him. I can't remember if it happens in the vanilla game or if it's in the expansion either. Yeah, I don't know. I think it is. I think it's one of the last things that happen in the original game. I think, if I recall, because he's also in the zombie island of Dr. Ned, I believe. Or maybe I'm confusing that with this. I don't know. Clearly, it has been a while to figure stuff out. And so, okay, right now you can see that there are the skulls there. I am level 11. These are 16. I am in bad shape, but I am plowing ahead. The shotgun, especially one with like any kind of explosive stuff, is very good. Not really getting the XP. I don't know if I keep going with this or if I back out. I might back out, because it's one thing, okay, they're overpowered and I have to grind, but like I remember doing that with Marcus's Mercenary Headhunter DLC, and like, you know, they'd be several levels ahead, but I'd get like 400 XP for killing them. So it kind of made sense. It made it worth my while to grind because I was getting richly rewarded for my efforts. But getting 168 XP for something that's 4 levels above you and is probably going to, be very close to one-shotting you every time. But apparently Past Me disagrees. Past Me is going to continue on with the customer-focused thinking shotgun. I mean, they're okay in their own right. And I think I mentioned it in the very first game. Explosives are fantastic in this game. They were kind of nothing in the first one, as far as I can remember. I mean, they enhanced it a little bit, but they weren't a big deal. Fire and corrosion were where it was at. And some, to a degree, to the shock. But in this one, you're almost always guaranteed to get good results with an explosive weapon. Skeletons, even creatures with the gold or yellow health bar, which should only be really weak to corrosion, even those take a beating from explosive stuff. So it's kind of a all around good choice. It may not have all the efficacy, and it certainly doesn't have a lingering effect. They explode on contact. The bullets or the pellets or the projectiles explode on contact, and then it's done. So they don't catch on fire or anything, but they're usually pretty powerful. And these shotguns I don't think they're using explosive ordnance, but they are obviously very powerful up close. So we're doing all right. We're moving along. I don't know why I chose to continue grinding, but it's kind of a hit or miss. If anybody's played this game, if you understand why this is, you've got a leg up on me. But sometimes, whether it's the actual DLC proper or one of these headhunter things, sometimes you'll go in there and everything will be at your level. Whatever level you go in at, if you go in at 12, they'll be at 12. And sometimes, like in this case, they're level 16. But I've gone into like Marcus's mercenary shop at different points because that's one of the better places to farm for certain legendaries and stuff. And I'm hoping it's several levels above where I'm at, so that when I finally grind my way through to the snowman, I get a legendary that is going to last me for 3 or 4 more levels. And then I end up coming in at the exact level I'm at, so by the time I get there, it's already underpowered. And then, like I said, then sometimes like this, it's way above my pay grade, but I'm doing all right with it. I'm doing all right. Getting some headshot between sniping and shotgunning. I'm getting the job done, even against skelly boys that are supposed to be untouchable. This is why I've said many times I am an unstoppable force in this game. I'm probably the best you'll ever see, in fact. It is taxing to be this good. And of course, you're seeing those weird effects. I can't remember what the green does. One of them, the red, I think, increases your health. The yellow makes you go faster. I'm not sure what the green does. It makes your shield regenerate faster. But they're candy. Again, it's a Halloween theme, so when you break open the pumpkins instead of the chests, you get candy instead of... But you really don't get... There's no equivalent in the base game. You don't get power-ups in the base game. So, a little different there, but it's a nice thing. And there we go, the best player in... Oh! I was going to be the okay, well, there we go. Self-deprecatory is the word I was looking for. I was about to do that. I mean, okay. That's, it's ridiculous. And as you can see, my fight for life meter is going down so fast, I have no chance. Which I kind of get, but it does seem a little... It's like, look, if I can get a second wind, if I can get a kill, like, I'm working for it, you know? I'm earning that revival. Don't make it even harder. That said, you can get some mods that will allow you, class mods, that will give you no, it's not a class mod, it is an artifact. You can get an artifact that will increase your cooldown time and your health. Or somehow it makes it easier. Your ability to recover in trying to get your second win makes it a little bit easier for that. But to me, that's kind of like banking on a loss. Like, ideally, you don't want to be bleeding out. Like, you want to... I prefer to have artifacts and things that keep me alive rather than ones that make it more likely for me to bail myself out later. But those Marauders, they're rough. They are very powerful. As you can see, very durable. Carry a lot of firepower, but they're not badasses. They're not an elevated level of bad guy. They're just really powerful mid-level guys, I guess. That's the way to put it. Grab some candy. Oh, and the candy actually tells you what it does. I never knew that. It's embarrassing, to be frank. The amount of stuff I don't know, or the amount of stuff I realize I don't know when I'm watching myself play, like stuff that I just... I mean, honestly, I really don't care. I don't feel like the candy is a make it or break it mechanic. It's just kind of a fun thing. Other than try to get the yellow candy so you can move fast, so you can get, if you're trying to get to a certain place, you just chew on that. And help you go faster. But everything else is kind of negligible. Or maybe it's not. Maybe I just think it is, and that's why I keep getting wrecked, because I'm not eating the right candy. And there we do actually have a genuine badass. Two badasses. Neither one are going to go down in time by far. I think I just hit X to give up on this. I should know. There's no way I'm going to... Oh, made some good headway. Ragdoll, and they just traipse over our digitized or de-digitizing corpse. Sad state of affairs, but it's the risk you take when you play Borderlands. Reconstruction, that's the process. Anyway, yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that I just assume I've played it so much that I know everything, I'm familiar with everything, and it's like, no, I don't know a lot of this stuff. But I believe this one came out after Tiny Tina's assault on Dragon Keep. I think we're seeing elements from that here. Actually, I don't know the order. I don't remember if the Headhunter stuff came out after the DLCs or before. I think Tiny Tina's was the last DLC, so there's a chance, and I think this was the first one to actually be released, so there's a good chance this was kind of like a prelude of what we were going to see on a bigger scale with Tiny Tina's assault, because it feels like there's a lot of elements from it. Obviously the skeletons, you're going to see a lot of those. But like you saw when we were going down that one pathway, the light was coming in, it was kind of very dazzling. There is that happens a lot in Tiny Tina's assault. It's not lens flare, but it's just kind of this very warm glow, and we don't make it. Those are the worst. Those are the worst ones where it's like you just need 2 more shots, but you're having to reload, and you're only going to get 1 shot off. You're 1 shot away from staying alive, and you get plugged. So I mean, I felt bad because I remember when I played this, like, oh, excuse me, oh, I was like, man, I'm dying a whole lot. But the truth of it is, I am fighting characters or fighting enemies that are 4 levels above me, so it's going to happen. It doesn't mean I'm smart for doing it, or it doesn't mean that I'm lacking wisdom. I mean, because look at this. I've killed, I think, a goodly number of stuff here, and you can see I was level 11 coming in. I'm not going up very fast. I think I was just... that's what happens after you play this game enough. You start getting bored with the main story, the main campaign, and so it's like you got to take a break from it every once in a while to kind of refresh it, and so you just play the DLCs that don't get as much playtime, just to kind of break up the monotony of the early game in particular. But you got away with that with the fact that you can only get those extra slots for your... and there we go, out of ammo. And we switch to a sniper rifle. What are the odds that this pulls off? Do we make it? We do not. Because we did. This is, as advertised, this is the non-optimized, the least optimized playthrough of this game that you will ever see. So you are witnessing firsthand the unnecessary grinding, the unnecessary deaths that result from the least optimized playthrough. But fortunately for us, it's all this nightmare is almost over, at least this portion of it. But yeah, you see how that lighting effect coming off the moon, it's kind of lighting up everything around it. You get that nice light spill in through like the slats and everything. That features pretty heavily in Tiny Tina's Assault. Like, it's a good look. It's a nice it's a nice warm glow in an otherwise bleak and depressing atmosphere. And now I'm remembering why this session was so short. I think I just really got tired of getting killed. And I was just like, I'm not going to do this for another 15 minutes. So there's no way for me to know how long I've played because I don't look at the clock. And like I said, a lot of times I was playing this with a buzz. So I wasn't really paying attention. I think I just got to a point like, okay, I'm done. And then I looked and I was like, okay, if it was 20 minutes, 30 minutes, I would have kept going. But I'm like 45, 48 minutes, that's close enough. Or no, 40 minutes. Close enough. Not really, but yeah, I'd kind of burned out. I think I ended up playing it again later that day, but I just needed a break. And you get that way sometimes. Sometimes with certain games, you're like, all right, I'll push through. I'm close to where I want to be. I'll just keep going even though I don't necessarily want to keep playing. And then sometimes it's like I am having no fun. This game exists, this experience exists for me to have fun. If I'm not having fun, there's no point in me doing this. And the quit is the result of that. But I think this is the only time. Mostly because I think this is the only time I continue to push on when I am grossly overpowered. I mean, look at all of that work, and it still seems like we're pretty much where we are. If you're, yeah, and we're just getting bludgeoned and bludgeoned. Yeah, I'm not sure what was going on in my brain at this point. I think I was just determined to finish the hallowed pumpkin man thing DLC. Like I was bound and determined to get it done. But that meant that I was dooming myself to the grind. Oh no! Okay, I was wrong. I'm wrong about so many things. Yeah. Alright, so we will pick up. We'll see. Do I go back to the Haunted Hallows or do I just give up and go back to the main game? That remains to be seen. Stay tuned for episode 4 coming up soon. Thanks for watching.